ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity as the president of the Art Social Club to welcome you all to the Historic Art Social Club, and thank you all for coming to our kickoff event that was initiated by our mayor, Brandon Scott. And so we have a wonderful program lined up. We have a wonderful program of folks lined up, and we're really, really proud and happy of the amount of support that we're getting for the total renovation of the Art Social Club. When I first ran into Mayor Scott, he was very young. He was down the city council, and we were down there. I forget what it was, what legislation we were looking into. And the next time I ran into him, he was a part of the 300-man march. I don't know people who are familiar with that organization, but we used to all get together on Friday nights and walk into very high kill rate areas in order to try to get the murder rate to go down. So I've walked with this soldier, and I know he's true, and I would be willing to follow him, you know, even into battle if we had to. But for right now, all we got to do is just work on the total renovation of the Art Social Club. So this is going to be an easy one. So without further ado, I would like to take this opportunity to bring our wonderful mayor, Mayor Brandon Scott, to the podium. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. All right, we're in the Art Social Club. We're going to try that again. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I am so excited to be back in the Art Social Club. I am happy that the air conditioning is still working as I worked on it as a young man. But more importantly, I am happy to be here with all of you and my brothers here at the Art Social Club. Not only did we walk together in Baltimore, these two gentlemen, where's Brother Sean Bay? I know I saw him a second. He's right behind me. Actually walked from Baltimore to D.C. With me to protest against violence in Baltimore, where many people my age and younger were afraid to do so. So we will always be connected, not just through the Art Social Club, but for our love and commitment to making sure that Baltimore can be a better city. And this is a great day for West Baltimore, and excited to be here as we kick off the renovation on this historic building of the Art Social Club and celebrate the ongoing revitalization and becoming of Pennsylvania Avenue and the Pennsylvania Avenue corridor. I am honored to be here today with my colleagues in government, Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford. Mr. LG, nice to see you, sir. State Senator Antonio Hayes. He's known by many names in this neighborhood. Senator Hayes is not one of them. Delegate Frank Conway Jr., Delegate Melissa Wells, City Council President Nick Mosby, Councilman James Torrance, and the real councilman, Councilman Jace Torrance. Also, I saw Councilman John Bullock was with us as well in the back. And we're also joined today by our Acting Housing Commissioner, Alice Kennedy, and Sean Stinnett, Deputy Director of Minority and Women-Owned Business, and the Director of our Main Streets program, and also a 300-man march brother of ours as well. Now, we here are truly witnessing the renaissance of this community, which we all know has a rich, rich, rich history, and it's the heart of the Baltimore's African-American community in our history. We know that Pennsylvania Avenue and the Art Social Club is deeply connected to that. For more than a century, this building has stood proudly as a cornerstone of Baltimore's Black civic, political, and cultural life. And for all of those who have come to a show here, you know what I'm talking about. Throughout its existence, the Art Social Club has been where the African American community meets to address important issues and to fellowship with one another, even during the most tumultuous time and the hardest times on us, as we are right now with COVID. And as I stand before you, I am awed, thinking about how much history is in this room, this building, and this community. It is truly incredible that from the 1920s into the 1960s that Pennsylvania Avenue was the place to be. The avenue served as a thriving destination for Black arts and jazz age entertainment from across the globe. Like Manhattan's 125th Street in New York City, even though we all know New York can never compare to Baltimore, the Avenue flourished with nightclubs, restaurants, motion picture venues, and performance halls, and the stores will bustle with eager customers. Presently, all of us, city and state alike, community members and private investors, are working hard to not only to return this area to its former glory, but show a glory that we've never seen before. And we'll do that through a lens of equity and continue to be committed to considerable resources to ongoing and future redevelopment projects along the corridor and throughout the neighborhoods of Baltimore City. We, the city of Baltimore, are pleased to support revitalization efforts in this great neighborhood through the Community Catalyst Grants funding to the club and several other organizations who are dedicated to completing projects that will continue to uplift this community. We are also very grateful to the state for designating this area as the Pennsylvania Avenue Black Arts and Entertainment District, the first of its kind in our city in the state of Maryland. The designation truly helps further our vision for this corridor. As your mayor, I understand the importance of forging city, state, and most importantly, community partnerships that help support impactful investments like the ones currently happening in the surrounding neighborhoods and in this building. I'm thrilled to see that in the neighboring blocks, community renewal activity is progressing with a recent completion of Marshall Gardens and the refurbished row homes in the 1900 block of Edding Street and the ongoing expansion of Baker View's townhomes, just to name a few projects. Our partnerships are critical in supporting the projects that promote equity and access so that together, not apart, together, we can continue moving Baltimore forward. As mentioned earlier, we're here today to celebrate the renovation plans for this great building. Renovation plans include updating the club's electrical system, making the building ADA compliant, and expanding the museum. And of course, I can't wait to don a hard hat to help tear into one of these stones to get us moving in the right way to jumpstart the museum's expansion. So on behalf of the city, we know that we are one part of the partners that are helping to make this happen. I want to say congratulations to the Arts Social Club and the Arts Social Club Community Network for securing the grant funding necessary to commence renovations on this building and for continuing to build capacity and economic development, youth development, and cultural engagement for the community in which we're in. This club does it all. They realize that they are so much greater than entertainment. They are how we are going to work to make sure that our individuals, our people, our young people, our older adults are being able to thrive right here in West Baltimore. And of course, I look forward to returning to see the project upon its completion, but know I'll be returning many more times before that. Congratulations, everyone, and I'm glad to be a partner with you, my brothers, and can't wait to see how we use the social club to spawn the rest of Pennsylvania Avenue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With the CCG dollars that we are receiving from the city, we will be focusing on the renovation of our museum area, and the purpose of that is such that when we attract folks to Pennsylvania Avenue, we want to be able to show them the rich history of our organization, the Arts Social Club, but also the rich history of Pennsylvania Avenue as well. And so the museum is particularly important when it comes to trying to attract tourism traffic, because what we want to do is we want to be able to tie into the tourism dollars. There's about $5.7 billion worth of tourism industry that comes to Baltimore City. People are coming and looking for historical places to be able to come to know about the real Baltimore. And what we intend to do is to use the Arts Social Club and the Pennsylvania Avenue corridor as a mechanism to show and provide an African-American flavor and view to Baltimore City. So we thank the mayor for his support for the CCG grant activity. Also, in conjunction with that, the Maryland Trust for Historic Preservation has awarded us some dollars to be able to put up a brand new movie marquee where we can be able to use high-definition screens to do our announcements in order to be able to let people know the different events and things that are coming along on the avenue. Our project is a big project. It's a total $5 million project. And so we began to think of how it is and what we can do to be able to come up with some more dollars. And Brother Cameron Miles was able to get us in touch with our Lieutenant Governor. He had an interest in wanting to know what Baltimore City was interested in doing with the Pennsylvania Avenue corridor. So we spoke with him and we laid out some ideas that we had. And so we sent the ideas to him and we kind of went away. And before we know it, we look back and we see that the lieutenant governor had added to the governor's budget $500,000 to be able to support the work that we were doing. And so I just want to take this opportunity to bring the lieutenant governor up and thank him for his willingness to be able to work with us to help to provide something for our community. Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford.
Thank you, Van, and good morning, everyone. You know, for more than a century, this club has been here. It has been serving as an anchor in West Baltimore. One of the oldest, right? Not the oldest, but one of the oldest African-American social. Number two, there used to be a commercial in number two, you try harder. If anybody remembers that, if you're old enough to remember that one. But it is a pleasure to be back here, Van. I guess it was actually a year ago, a little before COVID shut down everything. Was it 19? I thought it was 20. It was February 20. Yeah, it was before everything was shut down, and we did a tour. We started here and then did a tour of Pennsylvania Avenue. And, you know, I was very pleased that we were able to put money in the capital budget to support the efforts here. There was also Bernie money provided and Project Core money totaling more than $1 million, I think close to $1.5 million of state funding over the last couple of years to be able to help in the renovation. And just recently, the $500,000 grant went to the Board of Public Works. And the mayor talked about all the improvements that are going to take place. And it's really continuing the legacy that has been laid here. And it is one of the first steps in terms of bringing Pennsylvania Avenue back as a cultural center in Baltimore City. I talked to the good senator a few moments ago because he and I have been having conversations over the last several months, I guess last year or more, longer than that, with regard to efforts that we can working with the city, the state to address some of the challenges that we have, right in this area, and some of the roadblocks to revitalization that are in place. Some of it is social, some of it is health, but you have to address those issues if we're going to really revitalize Pennsylvania Avenue. And there are ways to do that at the same time, taking care of the people who are struggling, but address the people who are not struggling, but really taking advantage of folks. And we have to recognize that. So, but I'm not gonna get up here and, talk forever, because I think you wanna get to, the good part of this, which is starting to take down a building, or part of the building, a wall, not more than that. But I do wanna recognize, Van for all his work here in the Arch Social Club. And I brought along a governor's citation that I'd like to present. Ben, can you come up? This is, on behalf of the state of Maryland, and it reads, the Arch Social Club, greetings, be it known that on behalf of the citizens of the state, in recognition of a special tribute to honor the kickoff celebration for the upcoming stabilization and renovation of the Arch Social Club, an anchor institution working toward the cultural, economic, spiritual, and intellectual uplift of the African American community in the Penn North and around the Pennsylvania Avenue corridor. And as our citizens join in expressing our best wishes and grateful appreciation for your commitment to provide amenities to homeowners and residents in the Penn North community of Baltimore City, we're pleased to confer upon you this governor's citation, signed this day by the Governor Lawrence J. Hogan, myself, and the Secretary of State. Thank you very much. Let's step away from there.
I thank you for that award, sir, but I want to make it clear that it was a great effort of many folks, and the work that we're doing now is actually based on the work of our elders and ancestors who have come before us. We have listened to them and what they have expressed that we needed to be able to do to move this organization forward from generation to generation, and so I am proud to be able to be a part of that. The dollars that the Lieutenant Governor was able to secure is going to go for us to be able to build the first 2 stories of ADA compliant restrooms in the back. It's going to also provide some dollars for us to add high definition screens to our movie marquee in the front, and it's going to enable us to use some of those dollars to capital equip our kitchen, because we're going to be working towards having a sit-down restaurant capability to be able to provide that amenity to our community for folks who are homeowners in the area and want to come out and eat and don't want to just stop somewhere and pick up a chicken box, but want to sit down and have a dinner, and also for tourists who come to town, and when they come up from the hotels or the areas wherever they're staying at, we want to be able to provide a space for that tourism traffic to have some African-American cuisine and some fine music for them. You know, we look for more dollars. That's part of phase 1. In order to complete phase 1, we were a little bit short, and we needed some more money, some more dollars to be able to get this done. And so what we did was we had met and spoke with, we had been in touch with Antonio Hayes, Senator Antonio Hayes, and we were able to talk with him, and he got together with the 40th District delegates and with himself, and with Melissa Wells, and with Frank Conway, and with Marion Ambry. They were able to submit some legislation for this last bond bill period to get us another $650,000 that we needed to complete phase 1 of our renovation work. And so we're really, really happy about that, and I would like to take this opportunity to call Senator Antonio Hayes to the mic. Thank you very much, Antonio Hayes.
Good morning. Welcome to Penn North. It's always glad to be back home. Love this neighborhood. Mr. Judson always he remembered me when I was a snotty-nosed boy just around the corner from here. But no, this is an awesome community with so much history. And so much history for me and my family. This is where my mom succumbed to substance abuse right up the street on Pennsylvania Avenue. And so to celebrate in partnership with an organization like Arts Social Club, that's more than a social club, that's really giving back to the community is awesome. Saw a couple of people in the audience that I just want to recognize, because we get to these places in position on the shoulders of those who came before us. I see joining us, who's always been an avid member and advocate on behalf of Arts Social Club, former city councilman and former delegate Melvin Stukes is here today. Also, my mentor, I started off with this lady as an intern in Annapolis, and and she took me on, to the chagrin of Patrice, her son, as another son, and actually she and my mom share the same exact birthday, and my mentor, my other mother, and one of my predecessors, Delegate Salima Saleh Marriott, is here this morning. Thank you. And to that point, we talk about the Arts Social Club, but one of the things that the Arts Social Club had the vision to do is look outside of just being a social club and create opportunities in outreach, right? And so they started a nonprofit organization to do some of their economic development and community development work through the Arts Social Club Community Network. And Dr. Marriott invited me to that space, and I met some awesome people. I think I saw Miss Denise Griffith around here somewhere. Oh, right there behind me, always making it happen. I see Dr. Flooney Hutchison here, who's going to be lending a host of interns and intellectuals to help out for the work that's here. Representing Coppin State University, you have Dr. Gary Hyatt that's here from their arts program. And also, he just snuck in a little bit. But just another shout out. I see Wes Moore has joined us. Prior to Wes Moore leaving and becoming a candidate, he was able to successfully bring some revenue, which is hitting the streets through CFUS very soon, millions of dollars to help with some of the longtime social ills around poverty that's happening right here in the Penn North community. So thank you for being here this morning. And so I won't be very long. It's just an awesome opportunity to be here. This is one of many times that I've shared the stage over the last couple of weeks with the mayor, who is everywhere in this city. From sunup to sundown, he's everywhere, holding city agencies accountable, giving them, goals to go even higher than what they've done. And it's been an awesome ride over the last couple of weeks with you, Mr. Mayor, and your commitment to Baltimore as a native son and seeing things through. And another gentleman, the Lieutenant Governor, he made the absolute wrong decision of choosing the wrong party. But I will tell you, this guy, even at his level in the State House, is so committed to this part of West Baltimore. He's walked these streets with residents and neighbors. He's problem solved with so many in the community over and over again. And you always get a random phone call from the Lieutenant Governor about different things and different ways to improve West Baltimore. And so it's been so solid to have you, sir, as a partner in the State House on behalf of Maryland for this community. And we look forward to building on top of that. This past session, my colleagues and I, Delegate Wells, who you'll hear from just a minute, and Delegate Conway, we came together and we made a strategic move. We had over 17 requests for bond legislation. It's capital improvement dollars that creates jobs and create capital improvements in the community. We made a conscious decision to focus all of our energy on West North Avenue. And all of our bond bills, including the $675,000 that Delegate Conway led the way in securing for phase one of this project, was dedicated to West North Avenue. And so if you look at this year's state budget, Delegate Stutes, you will see whether it's the $32 million for the brand new business center that's being built at Coppin State University on the corner of North and Warwick, that's going to provide technical assistance to the businesses along here, whether it's the $675,000 for Art Social Club, whether it's the $300,000 for Coppin Heights CDC to make sure legacy neighborhoods that weathered the storm be able to make improvements to their community, whether it's the $250,000 that we got for Urban Oasis to build a community garden, or the $250,000 that we got just right across the street to build an opportunity for net zero live near your work housing. This team here in the 40th District, Delegate Wells, Delegate Ampry, and Delegate Conway, has really come together to prioritize West North Avenue that have seen years and years of neglect. And the Art Social Club, and the reason we're here today, is one of those shining stars that is beginning the resurgence that Pennsylvania and North Avenue haven't seen for decades. Some people, I grin every time, and I'll wrap up with this. I run into people all the time who think I don't know, because I grew up here, right? My family still live here. My Aunt Annie around here somewhere is the president of Community Association. And so I have family here. I'm invested in this community. And I run into people all the time that say, well, city and state hasn't done anything since 2015 in the uprising, right? And I came into office in 2015, so there's a lot happened before I even got here. But I being from here, I know there hasn't been a lot done for this area since 1968 when a riot struck throughout this nation. And now we're on a turnaround to rebuild this community to the glory that my aunts and my uncles often tell me about. And so congratulations, Van, for bringing all of us here together to celebrate the work that you all have done. And we look forward to partnering with you in the very near future. Thank you so very much.
We thank you very much, as the Art Social Club, for those kind and wonderful comments, Senator. Also, I got an opportunity. I was on a Zoom meeting because of all this stuff with the COVID, and I had an opportunity to meet through the Zoom meeting and talk with Delegate Frank Conway and also Delegate Melissa Wells about the possibility of supporting us on one of these projects. And I think that they really actually together did a wonderful job, because I know when the legislation gets introduced, part of it has to go to the Senate side, I think, and part has to go to the House side. And they were able to successfully secure the funding that we needed to complete phase one. Also, Marion Ambry was a part of that, and he's been doing a wonderful job. He couldn't make it here today. He's out of state doing some work, but he's with us when it really comes time to hit the streets. Every time we go out with the youth group to clean the streets surrounding the area and stuff like that. And he comes and speaks to the youth when we have our programs on Saturday. He's been doing a wonderful job as well. But to the podium right now, I would like to call Delegate Frank Conway and Delegate Melissa Wells to thank them for the efforts that they put forth to secure for us $650,000 for completion of phase one.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Come on up, Melissa. Come on up. You're not on the you're not on the roster, but come on up. I'm very pumped up. I'm very happy. When we came up with this concept and introduced it basically in Annapolis, and we were talking about revitalization and pouring this money in, people didn't believe that we could make it happen. And we did. And I'm getting emotional, so you go ahead, Melissa.
Thank you. I mean, I think, as you can see, I come from a different generation, but what I do know is that than my colleague. But what I do know though, and you know, from the bottom of my heart, that wasn't supposed to be an ouch. But in all sincerity though, when I think about the legacy of the Pennsylvania Avenue, I think about the legacy of so many other avenues, black-led avenues like this across the country. My family's from Oklahoma, so I think about the Black Wall Street and the vitality of it. And I think about how this is a gateway to this city. This is in one of the best cities in this country. And so when I came in 3 years ago and I learned about the prioritization of Arch Social Club, how important the social club has been to the community, and the fact that there was so much more that this club could offer to the community in the way of sit-down restaurants and a meeting space, and to be able to kind of restore that glory in the modern 21st century. And so I'm just really excited to have been a part of leading that effort. I know the way bonds work in Annapolis is you put in your bonds, but you still got to make sure that you're on top of people to get that money. And so this by far was the West North Avenue was a priority, and I made sure that we were talking to leadership to make sure that we got all the dollars that we requested for this area, including for Arch Social Club. So I thank you again for all the work that you're doing. I'm happy that we're able to be a part of this regeneration, and I'm looking forward to what this the community will continue to look like in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, I thank you guys. And this thing goes to show the importance of a collective effort of a community and the elected officials and people that help to fund things and the community itself all pulling together where we can come together as a group and define what it is that we want, how we want our communities to look, how we want them to be developed. We make those decisions, and then we have to do the footwork and the effort in order to get these things done. But separately we might have trouble doing them, but together collectively this winds up being a real powerhouse. And so I'm just so proud of everybody who's in this room. And also, we've had another council person. We've had a couple of council people. But Nick Mosby used to be our councilman before Leon Pinkett. We were connected with him. He's always provided support to us for things that we were working on here at the Arch Social Club and in the community. I even remember a couple of times when the 300-man march was walking the streets that Nick also had a group of folks walking around on the west side to try to bring the murder rate down. And that might sound kind of insignificant, but to say, imagine yourself saying, we're going to get up and then we're going to walk in front of people we're going to walk looking around for people who kill people to try to get people to stop killing each other. That's something to think about before you go and do it. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of questioning and a lot of commitment. So I would like to take this opportunity to call our president of the city council, Nick Mosby, to the podium. He has always supported us with letters of support and everything that we need in order to get the funding that we need.
Good morning, everyone. President Van, Ray, Ms. Hall, Mr. Judson. Every time I walk inside of Arch Social Club, I say one thing to myself: if these walls could talk. Wes, if these walls could talk about Jim Crow and the oppressive nature that it provided to the folks that live right around this community, how it suffocated their hopes, their dreams, how it didn't allow them to think about the generations that will come before them because they didn't know how they were going to survive and pass things on to them. When we think about redlining, if these walls could talk, and the economic apartheid that is provided to communities like this, not just here in West Baltimore, but all throughout this country. If we think about if these walls could talk, and we look at the riots from 1968, and how individuals knew that everything that prior to them was going wrong, and knew that their trajectories was being shortened, and didn't know how to express it other than demonstrating the frustration that not only they had, but their grandfathers had, that their fathers had, and everyone before them had. If these walls could talk, when we talk about mass incarceration, right here in this city, and the way it has destroyed communities by ripping up families year after year after year. If these walls could talk, the individuals that came into this building, that set up this building, and the folks that came behind them, the conversations that they had about this city. See, right at this corner of Pennsylvania and North Avenue has always been a refuge, a place where folks could come, mingle, and socialize and forget about everything that they walked past coming into this building. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. If these walls could talk, we'll understand and know that in 20 years or 30 years or 50 years, Wes, that these walls should say that collectively folks decided to come together to pour as much resources, love, and support behind an institution that has always been here for this community. Through all of the downturn, through all of the economic apartheid, through all the issues and systemic problems that were created through failed policy. That's what these walls would talk about. But again, let these walls talk about something different, and that's what we're here today. We're here today to talk about private-public partnership. When we look at it from a state perspective, when we look at it from a city perspective, when we look at it from the institutions like Coppin State University, that's going to pour into this. We're going to be excited today, but understand and know that this cannot be the end. This can only be the beginning. And we need to continue to pour into the Arch Social Club, as well as into this community, to ensure that, again, when those walls talk in 50 years, it's going to be a glorious story. Because it's going to be a story where we provide our future generations real opportunity. The mayor is constantly put on the spot. City leaders are constantly put on the spot about this crime wave that has been happening my entire life. But until we deal with the underbelly of why crime takes place, when we talk about economic development, when we talk about our school system, when we talk about mental health, that's exactly what this corner means, and that's exactly what this institution has always meant to this community. So let's continue to pour into it. I look forward to working with the mayor. I look forward to working with our state partners, and I look forward to working with you, the community, to ensure that, again, those walls will be talking some glorious stories come 50 years. Thanks.
Thank you, Nick. Also, after him, we had Councilman Leon Pinkett, who was our council person. When we were trying to get the movie marquee installed, we found out that the size of the movie marquee that we were trying to put it back to, we ran into an issue because of zoning and the amount of signage that we could be able to put up. Well, our office, our city council office changed, and so Leon moved on, and now we have Councilman James Torrance, and one of the first tasks that he took on was to make sure that the zoning legislation that was needed to zone our building back to be commercial one entertainment, to allow us to be able to have the kind of sign that was defined for us by our architect Leeson and Associates. He made that possible by helping to push that legislation through, and it was also supported supported and signed by the mayor. So I would like to take this opportunity to bring Councilman Torrance up, and he's one of the other people that we see all the time, boots on the ground, when it comes time to get with the youth and go through here and hit the ground, clean up trash, and work on making this area look clean and safe. He's an integral part of that. So we got 2 council people coming up. It's going to be big council and little council.
Thank you, Van. I'll be brief. I have a toddler with me, so I can't be distracted for that long. But I just want to say that it's an honor to be here because this is an anchor. I think about my family members who came to Baltimore from North Carolina, from Louisiana, and you think about the Green Book and how the Art Social Club was in the Green Book as one of the safe havens for Black people in Baltimore City. And it happened to be one of the first places my family came here, to find out where they could find housing, where they can also find schools, find a dentist, a doctor, all those things, because those people were actually here in this building. So those conversations helped them with settling here so I could be created. But the other thing is that I look at Pennsylvania Avenue and the anchor that our social club is an opportunity to reclaim this space as a thriving piece of Black Baltimore. And I'm looking forward to, in a few weeks, introducing legislation to alley just recently behind us, where we have a lot of illegal dumping. We clean up around this area so much every month. We have to figure out new ways to reclaim space. I'm thankful for our partners at Rex and Parks, who just informed me that we are resurfacing the playground just adjacent here, and our partners at the Western District helping us to reclaim that playground. We're doing it part by part, but I'm happy to have those partners to see the value in making sure that our human beings, our citizens here, are valued and that the places that they preserve are in place for them to use. And I'm happy to be here with you, Van.
We thank you for that, sir. Our next speaker is Brother Sean Stennett, and he is in charge of all of the main streets for Baltimore City, and Pennsylvania Avenue is one of those main streets. And we feel it's important for the Art Social Club as an organization, not just to have our own internal thing rolling, but we have to be connected with the entire Pennsylvania Avenue corridor. We just want to be that anchor institution that helps to be able to get things going. And once we prove the feasibility of things, we would like to see replication up and down the avenue. But I first ran into Sean because he was one of those guys that walked the streets with us with the 300. And so I'm very honored to know him. I feel close with him, and he was one of the people that I was hooking arms with when we had to jump in between the we had to jump in between the National Guard and the crowd in order to stop the Freddie Gray uprising thing from reigniting outside. And so I would like to bring to the stage, to the podium, Sean Stennett.
Thank you. See, I know him as Brother Suzufe, and I know his man. So, and everybody keeps talking about the march that we did from Baltimore to D.C., and just reminds me of so much pain that I was in. I had to actually take a week off because of him, because he wants to be a track star and he wants to move too fast, which I definitely had to acknowledge one of our other 300-man march brothers, Brother Jahi, that it was an honor to actually navigate from Baltimore to D.C. Because it was so many different meanings as far as in what we did, and especially it incorporates as far as what we're trying to do here. When I was actually brought this opportunity from the city and from Mayor Scott, which I truly appreciate, as far as to run this Baltimore Main Street program, my first mention was Pennsylvania Avenue Main Street. I had to, I'm from Northwest side of Baltimore City, but I'm homegrown and educated, Coppin State University. But I knew that one of the things that I have to, in order to be successful as far as with this program, I have to do what I need to do as far as to uplift Pennsylvania Avenue Main Street. And Suzufe was one of the first calls that I made and said, look, we're going to do this together. We're going to work together and make it happen. I have a great team. I thank my Pennsylvania Avenue Main Street manager, Nikisha Turner, who is phenomenal. And we're definitely going to get things together. We've already started tours as far as throughout the Main Street sites, and we completed Pennsylvania Avenue a couple of weeks ago. We didn't hit the whole footprint. However, we know exactly what we need to do as far as a city to actually really change the trajectory as far as what we see and the conditions, what we see in Pennsylvania Avenue. So on behalf of my office, Baltimore Main Streets, I truly appreciate and looking forward for our partnership to continue. And please hold us accountable as far as to make sure that we get things done and on time and under budget. Thank you. Of course, the under budget I learned from my old boss, Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford. So I always got to do that.
Okay, so let's move along. I want to get busy a little bit and talk some about the Art Social Club and what it is that we have been working on. This overall project is for the total renovation of the building. Like I say, it's going to cost a total of $5 million. So far, we have accumulated about $1.7 million towards the project, and so we need about another $3.8 million. So we will be visiting some of you folks in the audience and see what it is y'all can do to help us to get towards that 3.8 million. We've gotten a lot of support from folks. We have support from people who have been connecting us with folks to get the historic structures report. The historic structures report was done by Gleason and Associates through Richard Wagner. And then also, too, it was the Neighborhood Design Center that helped us to come up with the connections to get the funding to be able to pay for that historic structures report. Out of that historic structures report, it helped to define the work that we need to be able to get done. So we have a wonderful general contractor that's working with us. His name is Greg Brown in the back. Of him and Richard, if y'all could raise your hands. He's the general contractor that's going to be working with us for these major renovations with CMB Construction, and I see Richard beside him with Gleason and Associates. Also, I think King's Mechanical is another contractor that will be doing a lot of the work here with us. And so, you know, also though, we have a whole lot of support. So let's see what it is that we're working on. We're looking at that. We want to be able to transform the current image of Pennsylvania Avenue and North Avenue. Right now, we are concerned, we feel that people around the nation, when they look at Baltimore, they think Penn North and they think Ground Zero or that kind of a thing. And also in the city as well, this corner has a reputation. So what we want to do, we want to stop and take right where we are, and we're going to transform that image. We're going to take that image as a group, as a people, and as community organizations, all connected together. We're going to transform that image from being the image of Ground Zero for the Freddie Gray Uprising to being a major entry, cross street or entry point into the Pennsylvania Avenue Black Arts and Entertainment District. Okay, now we're not at the top or the bottom. The beginning of the Black Arts and Entertainment District is up at Fulton Avenue, and it goes all the way down to MLK. But we are happy and feel blessed to be on this wonderful, busy corner of Penn North, and we feel blessed that we're right here at Ground Zero because we feel like this is where the work needs to be done, and so we don't have to travel anywhere. All we got to do is go right outside our door. Okay, so now we're going to do that by having a continuous series of cultural engagement events in order to prove the feasibility that people will come back to Pennsylvania and North Avenue for cultural engagement and for live entertainment and to experience Black social life. We have a wonderful promoter. Her name is Janura Winkler. Her code name is Lady J. She's been doing a wonderful job with shows, and she's been getting help from Diane Hicks. And every time they do a show down here, the house is sold, the tickets are sold out. We got a show coming up on August 22nd, and if y'all plan on coming, y'all better get them tickets while y'all here now before y'all leave. She's that serious, you know. So after that, after we prove it and that we're packing the house downstairs and upstairs, what we want to do is we want to use that as evidence and proof to ask for support from our elected officials at the city level and the state level, as well as people who are philanthropic folks who fund this type of thing to be able to support us for our operational funding, not just only for our capital, funding. Okay, and so we also want to take this opportunity. It's not going to just be playing old school jazz and stuff like that, or old school blues, which we're going to do plenty of. But but we also want to be able to capture the musicians, capture the singers, capture our youth, and we want to tap into our creativity as a people, because this is a powerful, powerful gift that we have, and we need to take and capture that, and we need to figure out how to monetize it and how to use it such that we can create revenue for our communities, so that we can reinvest into this thing and keep this thing going on from generation to generation. And I've mentioned earlier about the attraction of tourism. We feel that that's very, very important. I know myself, when I go to town, if I go to New Orleans or I go to LA or some city, the first thing I do is I check into the hotel and I go and find some of the people that's working in the hotel, and I say, where is it happening at? Where are the places to go? Okay, so what we want to do is we want to have that connection. When people come to town for conferences at the convention center and people are in the hotels, we want to have a type of a strategic alliance with those organizations such that when those folks look for places to go, hey, they may want to go to Little Italy and have some nice Italian food. They may want to go to Charles Street, but they may want to come to Pennsylvania Avenue and hear some black jazz and blues, and we want to make sure that we have that available. We also, in the meantime, in between those tourism events, we want to also make sure that we provide amenities for our community. The Penn North Community Association, the Druid Heights Community Development Corporation, and Upton Planning Committee have been doing a wonderful job in developing affordable housing along the corridor. And what we want to do is we want to function as an anchor institution to help to provide some amenities to those homeowners so that they have some things to do, some places to go, a place to come and eat, a place to come and socialize, a place to come even when things get rough. If things get rough and there's an emergency situation, come on up here. If it's time to have a good time and enjoy some jazz and blues and culture, come here. We intend to be that spot, okay? And so now, in order to be able to do that, we have gotten a lot of awesome support from folks, and I hope I don't miss any names, but I want to run down this list of folks who have helped us out. Okay, we've gotten support, of course, from the city government and also from the state government, from our mayor, from the president of city council, and from our city council people, also from the lieutenant governor. He's provided wonderful support to us. And then also our senator, Antonio Hayes, and delegates Melissa Wells, Marion Ambry, and Frank Conway. So we have those connections. Now we have to strengthen our philanthropic type of connections. We have got funding also from the Able Foundation. They have begun to support us. They have given us a loan to help to cover our expenses of like about $156,000. We have gotten support from T. Rowe Price, who worked to develop a strategy for us to be able to prove out just how we're going to be, just what we're going to need to be able to operate. Once we put that big elevator back there, those 4-story restrooms, and all of these new contraptions, our value of our property is going to go up, and the maintenance is going to go up, and so we needed a strategy to be able to prove so that we can plot out how we're going to pay for these things and keep this organization going. Even though we are a for-profit organization, all of the money that we take this money in and we turn it right around and we give all free events. We don't pay dividends out and stuff like that. Our gift is when we see you guys show up like this. This is our gift, okay? And so that, though, does not help us when it comes time for looking for funding. So we had to form the Art Social Community Network, and they have been doing a wonderful job of connecting with folks to develop programming and also for operations, and then also to go after some capital funds. So I just want to keep things really, really short and sweet, because we have a historian here. If we get time, we're interested in, we want you guys to hear the true history of the Art Social Club. So we have our historian. He's going to be hooked up, and he's going to be live streamed from our museum area, and he's going to give you guys a history internally of the Art Social Club. But I know that I'm forgetting some folks, but like, say, for example, we have the Whitman Fellows, and we have the support from Performing Our Future. We have Dr. Flooney, they have the Lafayette Group, who have committed to help us out with the work that we are working on. And also, too, I understand that this is Mr. Wes Moore right here up front, and I really have an interest that we need to talk with him. We really want to get with him and talk with him. Also, while we were waiting for the lieutenant governor to call, I got a surprise call from Kwesi Mfume. He said that he would have liked to have been able to make it. He apologized, but he's down in D.C. and they're voting and working on the Voting Rights Act today, so he could not make it. But that's really not why he wasn't here. I didn't contact him as I should have. But next time, we're connected now, and he's talking about that he's going to get us recognized at a national level by adding us to the Congressional Registry. I think that's what he called it. So I'm going to keep this short because I know we've been in the you guys have been listening to a lot of talking. We have in the back we have a black contractor providing the food. He helps us out when we have our different events. But first, what we would like to be able to do, we're going to do the groundbreaking, ready to do the groundbreaking ceremony. Our chairman of the Board of Trustees, Brother Caleb Tashambe, is going to go out to the live stream, give a quick.
All right. Okay. Art Social Club is a historic club. We were founded in 1905. That was 40 years after the last African slave were freed in Galveston, Texas. We founded. We believe that we have the blueprint that have lasted over the years because Art Social Club, we did not narrow our membership based on religion or politics, anything like that. We have more in common than we have difference. So you can be a Democrat, Republican, anything, be a member of Art Social Club. The early founder of Art Social Club was the guy up there, Raymond Coates. That's one of the early founders, community leaders. During the early 20s, a lot of community leaders was in Baltimore City. They were the members of the church. They were community leaders. You had a lot of the veteran communities, and you had a lot of different community organized in the community. So we had a better community. At that particular time, the upper class, the middle class, and the lower class, we were confined to live in a certain area. So we began to form our own businesses, everything like that. As a little young man on Pennsylvania Avenue, this was like Hollywood, Las Vegas, growing up. We had a lot of historic prominent members of our social club, doctors, lawyers, teachers, preachers, everything like that. One of the early founders of our social club, then is like city council, Harry Cummings. A lot is not wrote about him, you know, but he was an early civil rights fighter. They graduated from the University of Maryland. There's a lot of history on him. I'm not going to give a lot of history today, but as you can see around here, we have Harry Brown, he's the first superintendent of Providence Hospital, graduated from Howard University at age 25. We have a lot of historic figures in our social club. And one other thing I want to say is a guy named Robert Coleman. The thing about Robert Coleman, I want to tell you something about real quick. I want to show you something. Our club got caught on fire, 1949. All our whole membership list was destroyed. Robert Coleman, he was one of the publishers that wrote the directories of all the black businesses in Baltimore City from 1913 to 1946. In his book, he had, between 1920 and 1922, he had all the members of Art Social Club, where they lived, the businesses they owned, and the street they lived on. This right here, these were all the businesses during that time, businessmen in Art Social Club. These were the doctors at that time. These were the dentists. They was also members of other clubs. The club had music out in the club because of the church guys. The church guys could sing and play music instruments. That's how we got music in the club. And then a lot of veterans was in bands during that time. Half the membership of Art Social Club have always been veterans. Most of the leadership right now, we all veterans. They went to these schools. They was in different labor unions. A. Philip Randolph, many of you know, Sleeping Carl Porter. One of the leaders of that was Walter Batson. He brought a lot of those guys in it. They predate the civil rights movement in their activism. These were some of the lawyers in the club. And these were the churches they went to. These were the politicians. The thing about it, we didn't narrow our membership so you could be a Democrat, a Republican, you know. And this man here, he worked along with Tom Smith, who was a Democrat. They work together for the advancement of the community. Like I said, we have more in common than we have differences. We can work together. What kept us together, what kept us together, right up what you stayed up this here, that is who we are. That is who we are. I want to end it with that.